so interested in seeing what him and Quinn Ewers do this year. There's been so much hype.
We should have a pretty dangerous running back in Blake Corum.
Maryland's gone. Talia Tagovailoa.
Yeah.
A little too backyard football.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that is Let's Talk Football. And it's Saturday, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we're back on a Saturday. My guy, the host of Restoring the Roar, Mr. Alex Loosmo. What up, Alex?
Not too much, man. Cannot wait. Like we were talking before the show, 2 weeks from now, games have already kicked off. About 45 minutes ago, 2 weeks from now, we've got kickoff. I cannot wait. Talking D-line this week, just so excited. We're just about there.
Let's go. And like you said, Notre Dame will be playing Navy, like in Dublin?
In Dublin, Ireland,
like, UTEP will be playing Ohio, San Diego State, and Hawaii. Even USC plays San Jose State. Man, It's right there. Like two weeks, one pay grade, like one pay schedule away. Like I'm ready.
Oh.
I'm ready, man. Oh man, come on. Here we go. Scott in here always saying first. Thank you, Scott. And go Mizzou. Hey, time's coming, buddy. Time is coming. Hey, we're here. Let's talk college football. And like we alluded to Saturday, 20 days. It's right around the corner. And it seems more real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it seems like we see like the kind of the preseason starting in the NFL, and you're really hearing a lot more of like the fall camps and things going on. And it's kind of like, okay, I'm getting hungry. I'm getting hungry, man. How are things in Michigan? Like, you've been watching the fall camps or any of that stuff?
I've been kind of tuning in a little bit. Corum looks awesome. He looks better than he did last year, which is freaking awesome. JJ looks... He's taken over that team, man. Going into that junior season, he is firing on all cylinders. Talking to this D-line this week, it looks really good. Mason Graham, as a true freshman last year, worked with Mozzie Smith. He's taken over the unit now. Kenneth Grant has taken over that Mozzie Smith role, kind of that same build, that pure nose tackle. Graham Harrell, Josiah Stewart as those edge rushers. It's going to be another good year in Ann Arbor.
Oh yeah. Oh, it looks that way. It looks that way, man. Yeah. We are feeling the same. Hey, Drake May, obviously there's all the attention around him. We're trying to mesh with our new, OC we know long ago now at Wisconsin and everything like that. And our transfer. You see that report about our transfer receiver?
Yeah.
From, Marshall, I think. They said he wasn't eligible to play this year or something like that. So we're trying to figure that out, man, and get him going. But hey, I'm eager to get this thing started, but it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what goes on, man. But we have to get into it a little bit, because one question I think we all have to ask, this isn't your your mom, your dad, your grandparents' old conferences where you had the Big 12 and you had the Big 10, the Pac-12, and these teams are jumping ship. Is there any way to save the Pac-12, man? Like, first and foremost, talk about like what's been going on in the Pac-12.
Yeah. So obviously everyone knows the big news. Late last year, USC, UCLA decided they're jumping to the Big Ten for the 2024 season. Then it came out that Colorado was going to the Big 12. Now Arizona State, and Utah are all following them. Now, just a few days ago, Washington and Oregon are now going to the Big 12 or Big 10. We're left with 4 teams in the Pac-12, Pac-10, Pac-4, if you want to call it that now. And you need at least 8 teams to remain a conference in NCAA play. It's not looking likely.
No.
I've come up with a few different kind of scenarios here for Cal, Stanford, Washington State, and Oregon State. So, I mean, obviously, if you want to keep the Pac-12 alive and essentially the Pac-8, you could try and lure some of those teams on the west side of the map from the Mountain West Conference. San Diego State has already said no fairly recently. I doubt they'd say yes now. But you have Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, Air Force, San Jose State, UNLV, Nevada, Hawaii. Like, there's a bunch of teams in there that geographically make sense for the Pac-12. The only issue with that is it's a pretty big buyout relative to how much those schools make for them to leave the Mountain West for the Pac-12. And it looks like the Pac-12 is more focused on finding landing spots for these last 4 teams than bringing other teams in.
Well, right. And you were talking to me before about potentially having, Cal and Stanford come to the ACC as a third conference. It hurts. It's weird, man. Atlantic Coast Conference. It is. That means we're on the East Coast. I don't know. But you did mention how that could actually bridge the gap towards the future. So explain that.
Yeah. So, I mean, realistically, all these other conferences saw how quickly the Pac-12 is dissolving, and they've all turned to survival mode. So for the ACC, getting Cal and Stanford isn't exactly like, oh, we just want to add schools to our conference. It's that survival mode. When you're looking at expansion that every conference is looking at now, if you have teams all across the country, it helps with that expansion. Teams down the line in that Mountain West Conference, in the AAC, stuff like that, they might be more willing to join a conference that has teams all over the place. So you're not like Cal and Stanford, and every week you're going to the complete opposite end of the country.
Right.
That might help things out a little bit down the road. Obviously, some of these conferences, they look at the academic standing of some of these schools. Getting a Cal and Stanford into that conference really boosts the academic rating in your conference. Because those are 2 schools that, if they really wanted to, could go into the Ivy League section of sports. Right. They're that good of schools from an academic standpoint, although that would be arguably as bad as going independent for those schools because there's little to no money there. You're still going across the country. That is not a good idea. So, yeah, there's I do eventually think that Cal and Stanford will join the ACC. So they need, I think out of the 15 teams that are there, they need 12 yes votes for it to move in. They currently don't have that yet. So they're just kind of waiting for enough approval to add the teams. SMU is also a team they're looking at adding. So bump that 15 to 18. You could do 2 9-team divisions. You could do 3 6-team divisions. Right. However you really want to play that. I do think that Washington State, who said they have no desire to do the cross country travel every week unless they get a boatload of cash, which they're not going to. No. I think they're going to the Mountain West. I think that is set in stone, realistic. Locked in. Oregon State, I also believe, is going to go to the Mountain West. Just logistically, they both fit in there. It's still pretty good competition. San Diego State has good football team, basketball team. They're a good sports school. Boise State typically has a good football team. Air Force is always an interesting one. So you've got some competition there. I saw Andrew's comment there.
Yeah, I just saw that.
The other one, though, that I mentioned before is the AAC. They've mentioned, or they've tried to get out west, expand out there in the past, and they offer more money per year currently than what the Mountain West does. So the Mountain West is $6 million in annual payouts to schools. Now, obviously, all these deals would be renegotiated as soon as you add teams. The TV deals, all that have to be renegotiated. The Mountain West is shown on a mixture of Fox and CBS. The AAC is shown on ESPN. ESPN currently doesn't really have any rights to the West Coast, hardly at all. So I could see them legitimately pushing the AAC to try and get these guys and saying, we'll that price will go way up. We'll pay you way more if you can get us that West Coast. So maybe Washington State, you could talk them into going to Texas. And that's really, you don't have to go much further than that.
Yeah,
that's still quite a ways.
Well, you're talking about north
to south, yeah.
Right.
But you might be able to get them to do that for more money than what the Mountain West can give them. And Oregon State, I could see them going there too, but I do think those two are Mountain West.
Yeah, I can see it. Man, oh man, it's just crazy that we even have to think like this. You know what I mean? Because we could, like I told you before, there was that view that somebody put up that had it if all the teams were played in their right regions and everything like that, and how different things would be. And now we're just like, look, man, we're just trying to fill a conference. This is craziness, man.
Well, the one major thing to look at is, what's the big thing in college football that's happening next year? 12-team playoff.
Yep.
Where it's supposed to be the 5 conference champions and then wild cards the rest of the way.
Right.
Now, you're not going to have the Pac-12, essentially. That's going to be gone.
Right.
So is it just 4 conference champions, probably a group of 5 champion at that point, and then wild cards the rest of the way? Or is it just the 4 and then 8 wild cards? They're gonna have to go back to the drawing board on that as well, on the automatic qualifiers and all that, because losing a Power 5 conference for that aspect of college football, let alone just college sports in general, losing the Pac-12 is a massive blow. I mean, it's a conference that's been going for 108 years, something like that, and it's just like money. That it's gone.
Yeah. So hopefully, it does not look good, but hopefully, maybe some of the scenarios you pulled out, where you bring some of those Mountain West, bring some of those other teams into the Pac-12, at least keep it afloat for this year. I mean, and again, to be clear, it's not happening tomorrow. It's not happening this year. This happened. This is going towards next year in the future.
Summer of 2024. Yeah.
Yeah. So, But, hey, there's a long ways away till then. What's closer? College football. College football is here in 20 days. We are excited. Shout out to those of you that are in the comments watching us. But another thing that we've been talking about, Alex, man, all off season, we've covered it all the way up to the draft. We talked about these guys that were last year's stars, the studs, the breakout players, and them getting into the NFL. And today, a little bit later, we're going to see more and more. A lot of these guys are making their NFL preseason debut. And let's start right at home, man. Talk to me about your guys. How did the Lions look? Jahmyr Gibbs, I heard he got a little action.
Yeah, so he didn't play too much. I mean, he had 6 carries for about 18, 19 yards, and then a catch for 18 yards. Looked solid. I mean, he showed that speed. The majority of the starters didn't play. He only got a little bit of time because he's essentially a starter. But he's a rookie, so they just wanted to get him in, get him used to the speed. Someone like Sam Laporta only got 1 target. Yeah. I got to go back and watch the first part of the game. Didn't reel it in. So he's zeros across the stat line there. Defensively, those rookies looked awesome. Brian Branch, Sean, I showed you that clip yesterday. Came across defense,
right?
leveled the wide receiver, laid the smackdown on him. He's been awesome in camp the entire time. The joint practices with the Giants, he was shutting guys down left and right. He looks to be a star. He looks so good in camp that they've now pushed C.J. Gardner-Johnson back to safety so Brian Branch can be the nickel.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right.
He's been that good so far. Jack Campbell looked awesome. He showed that speed, that tenacity, that aggression. Was not afraid to get in there. He was in on pretty much every play that he was actually in for. He only got a couple drives, but looked very good. I'm so excited to watch him play. And then a lot of it was our other ones were kind of the trench guys. Broderick Martin, he's a defensive tackle, so didn't light the stat sheet up. I thought he played okay. I thought he was solid. He just a solid D tackle, just made everyone else look good, essentially. Yeah. And Colby Sorsdal, the rookie guard, I think we got in the 5th round. He looked good. I was quite surprised with him. The Lions didn't allow a sack all night. He played a lot, so he was good in pass pro. Our run game it got going late, and he was in for that, but the run game was kind of lacking. So it'll be nice to see him get a few more games under his belt, but overall, this draft class I was very surprised by. Oh, also, he wasn't part of the draft class. He was undrafted. Adrian Martinez, the quarterback from Kansas State and Nebraska, led a game-winning drive with under 3 minutes to go in the game. He was poised, man. He looked solid. Wasn't worried about the pressure. Was just making his reads. He looks like he could be a pro quarterback. Not really a starter, but he looks like he could be one of those solid backups.
Exactly. Oh, Chris, what is going on, man? Thanks for the nice comments. Yeah, buddy, man. Yo, shout out to Chris. Shout out to North Sports Dynasty. Andrew Faubert, I saw you in the comments as well. I came on there last night, talked about Washington, and then I tapped out and my guy tagged in. It was all good.
Yeah.
Wait, what it said? Where's the link so you can see my name? Oh man.
Chris, other Chris.
Oh, hey,
Washington 0-1.
Yeah. It's not happening, sir. It's not happening. What's going on, Chris? Will Levis playing today, and they're just preparing for kickoff. I'm eager to see that. Speaking of which, I'll start with Washington. My guy, Mr. We talked about Kentucky, Chris, and now we're also going to talk about that running game in Kentucky. Chris Rodriguez, 5 carries, 39 yards. Obviously, he got in there with against the 2s and the 3s. But, look, he didn't back down. He was pushing the pile. There were several runs where you're sitting there like, ooh, all right, big man, do your thing, man, do your thing. So I loved what I saw out of him. Kazmir Allen, who was an undrafted free agent, he came out of UCLA, and we were able to pick him up. He is potentially going to be our special teams kick returner, punt returner type guy. He had a couple returns that kind of looked like he turned the corner and just got tripped up, or one he returned it for like 30, 40 yards, but then he got called back because of holding. So that's a threat that we have not had, and I'm excited to see that. Obviously, we had our rookies, Quan Martin, or Tavis Martin out of Illinois. I had a couple of decent plays. I was really excited I was really eager to watch what that first round pick, Emmanuel Forbes, did. He had one major, real big pop, real hit early. Nothing else really to put on tape. A lot of technique stuff. didn't really get passed to all that much. Actually want to shout out our 7th round pick, Andre Jones Jr. He came in late in the game, and I mean, there's been a lot of talk about him, just his athleticism, his ability to kind of, track the ball and pursuit and all those type of things. And he came in with a couple of real big hits later in the ball game. So, it's preseason. They're playing against 2s and 3s and all that type of stuff. But he's making a name for himself, at least putting something on tape that I'm really excited about. So, yeah, I'm loving that. I'm loving that. Hey, did you check any of the other games? I know we talked about, like, the first game.
I didn't tune into much of the other games last night. After the Lions game, I hopped on the show, and then I was planning on kind of tuning into a few today, at least seeing how some of the rookies did. Yeah. I forgot your boy, Antoine Green. He got in late in the game there, 3 catches, 36 yards. He looked pretty good, which I was glad to see because he seemed to be really up and down in practice. So it was nice to see him get in the game and do well. Yeah, because I think he was only targeted the 3 times, brought all 3 balls in.
Oh, I can dig it. He's somebody that parlayed kind of that success he had last year into that spot, because before that he was really not known, even in North Carolina. So that was a huge thing. Chris, Russ looked like an ass playing a DoorDash driver. Yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting. They ended up pulling, if I'm not mistaken, didn't the Cardinals end up pulling the game out? I think I watched that this morning. Didn't you guys pull it out in the last play of the game or something to that effect?
Ooh. They won 18-17.
Yeah, shout out to the Cardinals. I want you to have all the preseason success you can have, because you see that W at the end of this? Yeah, that W at the end? That's that L you about to take, baby. Let's go. Yeah, buddy. Let's go. Yo, so we did actually talk about, and I was going to bring this up, obviously the first preseason game was the Texans and who was it?
Patriots.
Seattle.
Vikings, Seahawks was later in the night, yeah.
Yes, Texans and the Patriots. And we were able to see C.J. Stroud. He got in there. Obviously, his stats aren't really that great. 2 of 4. Had an interception. He got sacked. I looked back at some of his play. Honestly, it's kind of what I expected. This guy's a rookie quarterback. He's still trying to learn the system. We have to put it into consideration the adverse effects. Like, that line still sucks. That line is still trash. It's a first coach. It's just not.
And how many of the full-time starters were actually playing, and you got to look at everything.
Right. You know what I mean? They weren't in the offense. Their play calling wasn't, what they're going to do in the regular season. It was really vanilla. There was a lot of times where he's just sitting here in the pocket, and I'm like, dude, of course nobody's going to be open. Like, you're going to get sacked. The pocket was collapsing around him. So I just, I don't think that's an accurate debate. I just think that's what we're expected to see. This guy's a first-round pick. Yeah. Yes, they're going to come after him. So.
Well, and he's on what was the second worst team in football last year.
Right.
It's going to take some time.
Yeah. Chris, I will agree this was a hard game to watch. This was definitely a hard one to watch, but, it ended well. It ended fun,
See, I'm going to go back and watch the first part because I want to see Paris Johnson Jr.
Yes.
Because Chris, when we were on the show last night, was hyping him up, and I expect big things from Paris Johnson, so I want to go back and watch him. I'll probably just zero in on him, honestly.
Oh, yeah. Another team, actually, I mentioned this to you in the group chat, Holton Ahlers, East Carolina University, came in there for Seattle, 4-4, 43 yards, a touchdown, 26 yards on the ground. We talked about this guy at ECU last year, but to have him come in there, again, we'll always throw that disclaimer against the 2s and 3s, whatever. But if you can ball, you can ball, period. You're still going up against guys that were drafted, and vets. So I loved seeing what I saw from him, man.
When he had another 6 carries for 26 yards, he looked good. I was very pleasantly surprised by him. I mean, you look at their rookies, Zach Charbonnet, 4 carries, 14 yards. JSN, 3 carries for 3 catches, 25 yards on 4 targets. I mean, Charbonnet, another 2 catches for 14 yards. That offense is going to be scary again.
Yes.
I mean, you've got 2 really good running backs. You can make the argument for 3 if McIntosh gets rolling here. I mean, that receiver trio, Lockett, Metcalf, and JSN. Geno Smith's got no excuses.
No.
0. That offensive line's pretty good now. Like, it's how far the Seahawks can go is going to be on Geno.
Oh, well, right. Now you actually push him up when you're ranking those teams as opposed to last year where it's like, no, nobody's even thinking about them. Now it's like, dude, you got weapons, you got toys, you got a coach staff, you got to get it done. Flipping to the other side of that game, hey, Ty Chandler, shout out to him from UNC. He wasn't drafted this last year, though. He 2 years.
He was 2022, right?
Right. Yeah. So shout out to him. I just want to shout out to him because he's North Carolina. But Dwayne McBride, 6 carries, 15 yards, just under 3 average. Jaron Hall, shout out to Andrew.
Yep.
He did in there. I watched him. He wasn't getting that much support. The line was kind of breaking down, but he was mobile. It was kind of frustrating. You could see he was getting frustrated because he was kind of getting beaten up a little bit, and things weren't kind of working. But I'm still eager to see if he can put it together. Maybe not in Minnesota because he's going to be behind a couple guys. Mullins looked decent, so
yeah. Although remember, we're getting a third quarterback on the game day rosters now.
Really?
Yeah, that was a rule put in place this year after that playoff game last year for San Francisco. They're having like an emergency quarterback that doesn't count as that official 53-man roster, but he has to be the third quarterback.
Yeah.
You can't pull him in over your second string. He's got to be that only there for emergencies quarterback.
For the emergency stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Has to be injuries essentially that bring him in.
Yeah, make it your ringer. Make it
Yeah.
your ringer. Chris said, did you all know Mike Vrabel not coaching today? He named Terrell Williams as the one game interim coach. I did hear about that. Why is he doing that?
I have no idea. I'll take a look because I heard he wasn't coaching today. I didn't hear he named Terrell Williams the interim.
Yeah, I read that he had named Terrell, but I didn't know why that was happening.
See if I can find something on it.
Jason, shout out to Jason Ross Barfield said, only game I caught last night was the Steelers and the Bucks. Hey, I heard there was an amazing catch. George Pickens was balling out. He was doing his thing.
Yeah, I expect that from Pickens now. Like he's so good.
Exactly. Andrew said Vrabel is doing it to give him some airtime because he is an up-and-coming talent, according to Vrabel.
So, I've got this. It says, during a press conference Monday, Vrabel told reporters he's stepping aside for the preseason game Saturday to let Williams serve as the head coach, emphasizing it's a great opportunity for both Williams and the franchise.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
So it's a lot like at what they do at the Senior Bowl and that kind of stuff, where the head coach actually steps aside and then the coordinators run the team and all that. I think it's a really good idea. I wish more teams would do that, honestly, because then you can get these coordinators that aren't actually that are going to be first-time head coaches. You've got a scenario that you've already seen them run through where, yes, it's a preseason game, but you're getting them ready for game action. You're running the sideline on game day, calling the shots. I think it's a really good idea.
Yeah. Yes, Andrew.
He's not a top. No.
You have to add the energy part. Energy, I agree with.
Energy, yes.
That doesn't mean fully. Just like your little argument on top defense of all time. Not doing it, all right? No. Chris said Malik Willis, first play, 30-yard completion. Tajee Spears, first carry, 9 yards.
Interesting.
Out of Tulane, right? That was
yeah. Yep.
Okay. Next year, MMA Mascot Madness, Truman the Tigers training. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Let's
Colton
see.
Bills is also live right now.
Ooh, nice. Yes.
Anthony Richardson just got intercepted.
Oh, there it is. Somebody said, yes, sir. He's starting to grow into his own in year 2 for sure. Darnell Washington also had a great catch and several impactful blocks. That's somebody I want to take a look at, Darnell Washington. He obviously, we thought highly of him, and we know his size. Spears has 4 carries, 31 yards already. Oh, I love that. Okay. Yes, keep up.
Not even 6 minutes in the game.
Right.
Or like into the game.
Feed him.
I know for the Steelers, JPJ didn't play last night, Joey Porter Jr.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Jordan Addison for the Vikings only had the 1 catch, but it was for 22 yards. That was his only target. Yeah, a lot of these rookies are showing up in their minimal action they're getting. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a look at the Falcons here for Bijan.
Yeah. I was messaging also. I was messaging you in the group chat. Sean Clifford. Clifford came in there 3 for 3 right out of the gate and threw a bad interception. He looked like he was getting a little comfortable or whatever, but he led them on, I think, at least 1, if not 2 TD drives. 2 interceptions. So yeah, he was 20 of 26, over 200 yards, had a touchdown, threw 2 picks, but he's still. I mean, he's been around the game. We know. I mean, he's at Penn State for decades. Right.
Yeah, he was what they used to say about Hunter Renfrow at Clemson, just there for years and years and years.
It's like, you got gray hair, man. Come on, you can't still be here.
And Stetson Bennett and Hendon Hooker.
Yep. Oh yeah. Chris said David Blau revealed the Cardinals chose to let the Broncos score with 1:30 left so they can get the ball back. Hey, David Blau did his thing, man.
Glad to see him doing something.
Yeah, exactly. Battle of SoFi tonight. Absolutely. So look, yes, I'm excited to see it. Look, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick breather, and then we're going to come back with the top 5 edge rushers, top 5 interior linemen. We're trying to break down. We've done it all year. We're trying to continue to break down these positions to see who are the prime guys that will be coming back. Stay tuned for that. I hope you enjoy it. Take a look at a show that is coming up this fall. It's the Ladies Show, ladies and gentlemen.
We are back for Bo.
Yeah! He's a rookie. He's also half Puerto Rican. I don't know if y'all.
You already know what time it is.
Someone like Hayden Hurst is coming out and being like, look, you're not alone. On our show too, as well, we're all about mental health and awareness.
Yes.
Off and on the field.
Buddy, so that is Let's Talk Football Ladies Takeover with Janae Struther, Delilah Crespo, and Nicole Clycheck. That will be back this fall, talking about the women in the NFL, talking about the games, the hot player of the week, and just ladies have the final say. It's so much good stuff on there. You're gonna want to watch
they bring with it.
Yes, you know what I mean? They're always bringing that fire. So I love it. So definitely stay tuned for that. Oh, yeah. Let's go. Ladies take over, baby. Let's go. Yes, and yeah, I put that in specifically for you, Andrew. Love the award. Shout out. Let's get it. And that was great. Yo, so Chris said his Titans took it right down the field first possession, 3rd and goal 2. and Malik Willis, 2-yard rushing touchdown on the first drive. I can dig it. All righty, let's get into it. We need to talk about it. Edge rushers. We're starting on defense. We've covered all the offensive positions from the quarterback, running back, wide receivers, tight ends, O-line, from tackles, guards, centers. Now we're going to that defense. Alex, let's get into it. Top 5 edge rushers, man. Where you at, buddy?
All right, so number 5, it's a guy a lot of people probably have a bit higher. Dallas Turner from Alabama. I just think this is a really, really good group of edge rushers this year.
Yeah.
A lot of guys that over the next 2 drafts will probably be going top 10. Dallas Turner is a guy that can absolutely do that. Number 4, Chop Robinson from Penn State. Seeing some of these Penn State guys climbing up these boards makes me a little nervous. Yeah. They're the team that I think would steal it from us this year. And people like Chop Robinson are a big reason why. And then it kind of takes a jump here. These top 3 are a little separated from those last 2. Braylon Trice from Washington. He's phenomenal. He's a very, very good edge rusher. Good against the run and the pass. A lot of moves. And you'll notice that trend with these other 2. Number 2 is JT Tuimoloau from Ohio State. Yeah. A guy I've unfortunately had to watch a lot of recently, but he brings it, man. He is elite. There's nothing he can't do. I think he'll probably go in the 2025 draft personally, and top 10 pick, maybe top 5 by that point. He's that good. But number 1 is a guy that was a first round pretty much lock this past year, decided to come back to Tallahassee. It's Jared Verse for FSU. He probably made himself a lot of money by coming back, honestly, because he'll shoot up the draft board. But same thing with Tuimoloau. There's nothing he can't do. I just give him the slight edge because he's got a bit more power to his game. But I mean, both these guys are absolute game breakers.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. And you're 1 and 2. We're exactly like like Verse. I mean, if you have any questions about Verse, just go watch that LSU game. Just go watch him and how he wreaked havoc on that, on that offense, man. So yeah, and the fact that he's coming back is, I mean, like you said, like he would have been a first round pick, and now he's gonna move himself up. Not to mention the money that he's going to potentially get in NIL and all that stuff. So, definitely him. And I'm not even going to attempt to say the last name.
Tuimoloau.
Tuimoloau, man. Shout out to him. And, hey, actually, real quick, I'm not saying that he's from this area, but obviously the name seems, more Samoan, Hawaiian. Shout out to all of those people in Maui and that just horrible firestorm that just kind of torched that whole area, man. That, prayers to all of them, man.
Absolutely.
Definitely reach out and figure out where you could donate or help or whatever. That's just awful to think about. And you got a lot, especially now, that is so, we have really tapped into that like demographic of like the Samoan, the Hawaiian, the Pacific Islander, players, and they've been really showing up from, Villa, Marcus Mariota,
Tuimoloau.
I got it, man. Thank you, sir. I apologize. But yeah, so it's just that, they're definitely 1 and 2, and seeing what he did at Ohio State, because it was interesting. The offense was so offensive heavy that it was easy to say, hey, Marvin Harris Jr., CJ Stroud, Henderson, all these different guys. And then I remember, I think it was Penn State, where he literally took over the game late.
Oh, yeah.
And he
third quarter, fourth quarter, he shut that game down.
Right. And see that, and that's when they start really coming on the map with that. So I love that. For me, number 3 is got to be, look, honestly, it's Trice. You talked about it.
Yeah.
Adam, that's another team that I'm really kind of like, Dang, like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, they're building up, man. Top 2 receivers. We know we got big Penix energy, man, and quarterback.
Yep.
The running game is solid. Now this defense is showing up. Definitely top 10, and he's got my number 3. And this next pick, number 4, we've already said this team is the one hiccup that Michigan potentially is going to have.
Yeah,
Chip Robinson out of Penn State. It's going to be in Penn State. Thankfully, I know you're excited that it's not the whiteout game, but
if it was whiteout, that's immediate now. This year's team whiteout, yeah, that would have been death sentence.
It would be like, Alex, are you watching the game? It's like, no, not watching. I know what's going to happen. I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
But it's big noon kickoff. But yeah, this honestly, I mean, that team is really built this year to be right up there. I think it was you that showed me somebody's list of what they thought the top 4 was going to be.
Big game
and they had
playoff prediction,
right?
And Michigan and Penn State.
Yeah, I that doesn't surprise me. That does not surprise me, especially with all the players that left Ohio State. So yeah, that definitely is my 4. And then my 5, go Dallas Turner, Alabama, man. They always breed these great guys. And hey, we tend to look at last year like it was a down year, even though it really wasn't. They still won big name game, but you had a guy like this that kind of was under the radar because of Will Anderson Jr. He's going to show out this year, and I'm excited to see it.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, yeah, buddy, let's wait a second. Enter by watching.
Oh, he's got a comment up above saying an autographed Scott Thaler index card.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Oh,
I will give an autographed Scott Thaler index card. Are you kidding me? So tune in Monday night. Scott, let's do it, man. Let's cut a promo. Let's cut the promo, buddy. I sent you something, Scott. We shouted you on the other show the other day, man. Love it. Andrew, Dallas turned the top 15 pick. I can see.
Yeah, I'd almost lock that in now.
Yeah. That Ohio State.
He's on Ohio State.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to watch none of the SEC games. Look,
I think he means don't watch non-SEC teams.
Oh, okay.
Because in his next comment.
Let me say something. We got to correct it and Alex, you did say something the other night when you were on Thursday night, and Andrew was like, "Oh, you guys said the SEC was the best." No, we have been on this show fighting that narrative because there's so much other good football in the country, and you have the SEC as the top teams, if you will, now. And they have but it's really been the Alabamas, and every other team's had maybe a 1 or 2 off. Obviously 2 off because of Georgia this last couple years. But
yeah,
look, Big Ten.
Yeah. Now,
what was the
Pac-12?
Pac-12. Yeah, go ahead.
The absolute elite in each conference, SEC does take the cake.
Yeah.
The Alabamas, the Georgias, now LSU. Ole Miss is always up there. Arkansas is up there now. You've got very, very good football teams up there.
Yeah.
The entire depth of the conference, though, that is not the SEC.
No. There it is. So I see he said except for San Jose State.
That's his cash cow when he's betting.
Oh, I know it. Yeah. Didn't your quarterback get drafted for San Jose State? Cordelicio or something? Or is he coming back? Look on that big game boomer. I think he might be coming back. I know, Andrew, you're saying he made you a lot of money. Scott said, enter by watching, enter by commenting on the show. Scott, yes, we got to cut the promo, buddy. He said Mizzou is up in there. Is up there.
They're working their way up.
Oh yeah, they're in the SEC. We'll say that. Well, look, while he's looking at that, we're gonna go into the top 5 interior D linemen. Alrighty. And I'll go into it. I'll start Tyler Davis, Clemson. Got him as my number 5. Dominating the ACC. We know about all the talent that left Clemson this past year and went to the draft. So I really feel like he's primed and ready to kind of take over at the absence of the Miles Murphys and the Brian Brzezis and all these type of things. Number 4, Miki Wingo out of LSU. St. Louis narrative. He's a St. Louis native, Scott, from your hometown, baby, your area, man. Racked up 48 stops and tied the Bayou Bengals in the tackles for loss last year. This guy is somebody that really is coming along as somebody is really going to help that defense. We already know kind of what the edge is bringing, especially in the linebackers and whatnot. Number 3 for me, Akeem Mesdor out of Miami, a Canadian.
Yeah.
Had 10.5 tackles for loss last year, and a sack in the season opener against Bethune-Cookman. This guy has been balling out through the series. Great size, 6'3", 280. And had a game where he had 3.5 sacks against Virginia Tech. Like, just his explosiveness, the way he's able to get off the ball. Obviously, we really were let down by what Miami did last year, but he was really one of those that kind of was a bright spot. Number 2 for me, actually number 2 and 1 coming from the same area. Number 2 is Keith Randolph. Number 2, Jerzon Newton. Both of these guys are big, dominate in the middle. Randolph is 6'5", 305, just bullying that middle of that line, man. All Big Ten honors. Our third team all Big Ten honors a year ago, man. And then Newton had all AP All-American honors, man. 6'2", 295. I'm hyped to see that Illinois is one of these teams that you might not necessarily look at immediately when you're looking into the Big Ten. But Illinois, for those of you that don't know, man, they breed some ballers out there, man.
Oh, yeah.
Washington picked up Jartavius Quan Martin.
Yeah.
We know about their big name corner that came out.
Devon Witherspoon.
Got picked 10? Yeah, Witherspoon got picked 11th, right? 11th, or was it 12th?
Seattle picked him 5th.
Did he got picked that early? Yes, that's right. So, definitely watch out for Illinois in coming years, man. So I'm excited. What's your top 5 interior, man?
So number 5, I threw my boy in there, Mason Graham. As that true freshman last year, didn't stack up the stat sheet. 27 tackles, 2.5 sacks. But he wasn't really asked to do any of the main stuff. He was making linebackers look good, which he did. I look for him as a 19-year-old kid come in, take over, and lead that D-line. Number 4 for me is Meki Wingo from LSU. For everything you said, the guy is an absolute baller. Number 3 for me, another guy that was on your list is Jerzon Newton, Illinois. Just an absolute animal. Locks down the run game, and is a big problem in the Big Ten. Number 2 for me is Tyler Davis from Clemson. I look for him to take over. Brian Brzezis out, Miles Murphy's out. They're gonna need somebody to take over, and I think he's that guy. And number 1 for me comes from the University of Cincinnati, Dante Corleone.
Oh,
love the name, but he brings it. He is nasty. He's gritty. Great in the run game. Can push the pocket. There's nothing he can't do. And again, this is another really good group of DTs where there's no really runaway guy. So I'm kind of glad there were a few different names in the groups here, because there's a lot of different guys that need recognition and could be number 1 in this class by the end of the year.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. So it makes it exciting to see who's coming back and kind of where some of these guys are positioned, because then you start to understand how dominant these teams really are, because a lot of these guys might not get all of the front page media and all the major highlights, but they're the ones doing a lot of the work. So Definitely hyped for that. Appreciate all of you watching. We are gonna go ahead and move on real quick. But before we do that, I just want you to remember football season is back.
Stand up, left hand up. Who are we?
Certain
Love it.
affiliations still stand strong. But look, we're gonna go into our mascot challenge. I'm gonna go ahead and play this. And Alex, our tournament 2, round 1 has underway. We got some interesting results, even a coin toss.
Yeah.
Let's check it out. So,
All right. Oh, you okay?
no, I was like, yeah, I was gonna say so
Okay.
good, but you took over. You're good.
Okay, yeah. So first matchup, we're in the ACC part of the bracket here. So remember, I said you got to get through your own conference to get anywhere. The Cardinal Bird of Louisville against Mr. and Mrs. Wolf of NC State. The Cardinal Bird took it by a score of 6-3. So they face off against the Hokie Bird of Virginia Tech. This is where the coin toss came in. The Caveman of Virginia and Rock the Panther of Pitt. Tied at 4-piece. Sean did the coin flip, and it hit tails. So Rock the Panther is moving on, and this is where I said you got to get through your own conference, but some conferences didn't have enough schools. So Monty and the Aztec Warrior of San Diego State, they are moving on. Moving to the Big 12 section of the bracket. Big J of Kansas faced Bruiser of Baylor. Bruiser ran away with it, a score of 7-3. So Bruiser's moving on to face the Mountaineer of West Virginia. And Super Frog and Red Raider. This one was very close with 9 votes. Raider Red. And Raider Red is moving on with a score of 5-4.
What?
Yeah, I thought the Super Frog would take it. I was wrong.
Me too.
Wow. Raider Red of Texas Tech is moving on to face Ace the Warhawk of, I believe, ULM.
Oh, yeah.
Louisiana Monroe.
Oh, yeah.
All right, now down to the Big 10 / Pac-12 version of the bracket because the Big 10 only had a few teams. Herky the Hawk and Herbie the Husker, Iowa and Nebraska, with 10 votes. Very close. Herky's moving on 6-4.
Okay.
So Herky is facing off against Howell of Arkansas State, the Red Wolves.
Okay. Oh, nice.
And the Pac-12 section of the Big 10 bracket. Benny Beaver of Oregon State faced off against Swoop of Utah. And with 10 votes again, Benny the Beaver's moving on 6-4. We'll go up against Alfie and Wolfie Jr. of Nevada.
Oh, wow.
Mountain West teams being thrown into the mix. Now down to the actual Pac-12 section of the bracket. Wilbur the Wildcat of Arizona faced off against Trojan and Traveler of USC. Yeah. This one was a landslide. It was 8-1 for Trojan and Traveler.
Oh, yeah. Well,
yeah. So Trojan and Traveler move on to face Dubs and Harry the Husky, a Pac-12 / future Big 10 matchup, to see who moves on there. And then Joe and Josephine Bruin of UCLA faced off against Chip of Colorado. And with 11 votes, almost a tie, Joe and Josephine Bruin move on 6-5. Yeah. So the Bruins will face Big Blue of Utah State.
Oh, okay.
Over to the right side of the bracket, our SEC section of the bracket. The Wildcat of Kentucky faced off against Bully the Bulldog of Mississippi State. And the name was pretty fitting because Bully got away with it in the landslide. They manhandled the Wildcat with a score of 8-2. So Bully will go against, still haven't figured out how to say it, Reveille,
yeah.
of Texas A&M. I'm kind of hoping Bully wins that, so I don't have to butcher that name anymore.
Right.
But it is what it is. This one kind of surprised me as well. The Rebel Black Bear of Ole Miss against Mr. C of Vanderbilt. With 11 votes, Rebel Black Bear 7-4. I thought it was going to go that 6-5, but it was 7-4. Rebel Black Bear is moving on, going against Billy the Warrior of Hawaii.
Oh,
that'll be an interesting one to see how that goes.
Yeah.
And then we have this is the AAC section of the bracket. Jonathan the Husky of UConn going up against Riptide of, I believe, Tulane.
Yeah.
With 10 votes. Jonathan wins it 6-4. UConn is moving on. I thought Riptide was going to take it.
Yeah.
Jonathan is going up against Captain Kane of, I believe, Tulsa.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken. In the second round. And then PD the Pirate of ECU going up against Cat of Cincinnati with 5 votes. 4-1 for PD the Pirate. He is moving to go against Flash of Kent State.
Ooh. Oh, yeah.
Over to... Wait, no, that was... Okay. I got the conferences all messed up. But... or which one was which. But we're moving on. Blaze the Dragon up against Rory the Panther with 5 votes again. Score of 3-2. Blaze is moving on.
Wow, UAB. Yeah.
Yep. UAB is going up against FAU and Alzy the Burrowing Owl.
Oh. What?
And then the other one here, Scrappy of North Texas going up against Seymour DeCampus of Southern Miss. With 6 votes, 5-1. Seymour DeCampus took the win. Is going up against Zippy of Akron.
Oh.
And then we are in the MAC section of the bracket. We had the Victor E. Husky of Northern Illinois.
Let's go.
Up against Charlie Cardinal of Ball State. 7 votes. 4-3. It's Charlie Cardinal moving on.
Okay. All right.
I wanted Victor E. Bull versus Victor E. Husky. We're not getting it. Charlie Cardinal and Ball State go up against Victor E. Bull of Buffalo in the second round. And I made a mistake when I was making the bracket. I didn't realize that the Flying C mascot for Central Michigan was just the actual logo. They didn't have an actual mascot. So it couldn't be the all Michigan section of the bracket. So the Central Michigan was replaced by Rufus the Bobcat of Ohio. Went up against Swoop of Eastern Michigan. We still get the Michigan matchup because Swoop won 8-1. And Swoop of Eastern Michigan is going up against Buster Bronco of Western Michigan in the second round.
Okay. Eastern and Western, I can dig it.
Yeah. There we go. That's round 1.
As Scott says, good college players come from East St. Louis. Yeah. Yes. Round 1 of Mascot Madness Challenge 2. The picture's starting to clear up again. We appreciate you guys getting in. I was eager to see how many people kind of still voted, even though it wasn't, I feel like the first tournament was like a lot of the major teams
it was
everybody knew. Yeah, this one was more of some of the teams you didn't know. And that MAC conference, you get to the Eastern and Western, you get to NIU, you get to, some of those guys. What was it? Ball State versus
NIU,
NIU, that one. It was just like, oh, yeah, people don't know these mascots. They're not more.
North Texas versus Southern Miss.
Right. It's like, what? Like, who are these guys? So I love that people are still voting on it. People are still getting down, man. And shout out to my guy, Alex Loosemore, for putting that stuff together, man, because that's a lot of stuff, man.
I had a lot of fun doing it.
Scott said,
Yeah,
I voted for the one to Alex.
I noticed that when I was grabbing the votes today. I was like, I see a pattern here.
Wait a minute, Scott. Wait a minute. Look, I was the one who flipped the coin that ended up getting, Truman eliminated. If you want to take anything out, take it out on me. All right, buddy? Take it out on me. All right? Come on.
Hey, Truman will get one more shot when we do the third bracket.
Right.
Let's see if we can make it out of the first round of that one. That's all I'm saying.
Yo. All right, look. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. We're going to cut it right here. Actually, my laptop's about to die, and my charger is not seeming to work right now. So,
so perfect timing.
Right? So we are going to cut this thing. Wait.
No, I didn't.
No, I had it.
I don't know if you know this. We're on opposite sides of the country, my guy, and we're not even in the same country. So
right. Come on, Scott. It's all right, man. It's all right, man. Hey, tune into my guy Scott Thaller. All right, tune into a Monday night. Me and him do the show. Are you kidding me? Where he gives you some of these stories, and I get to openly say, no, you're lying. There's no way you're telling. But sometimes he is telling the truth. He has the proof. So, stay tuned for that. It's going to be fun. Hey, another great one. My guy, you see him over here, Mr. Alex Loosemore. Going to be watching some more games. Restoring the Roar, man. Is it coming back Tuesday?
Tuesday. I've got the game to talk about now. There's lots built up to talk about. So, Tuesday night, it will be back.
Okay, bet. And we will also try to go a little early so we can do the college show, and then you can get your stuff going. Yeah. I think Nathan said he's gonna try to hop on and see if he can do that. But yes, for my guy, Mr. Alex Loosemore, it's your boy Sean Spencer. This has been Let's Talk College Football. Tune in to some of those games, those pro games. I think Tennessee, like Chris was saying, Tennessee's playing right now.
Indy's playing as well.
Oh yeah, Indy.
And then
Richardson.
Yeah, he threw a pick right as I checked what was going on. So, and then we got Jets, Panthers, Jaguars, Cowboys, Eagles, Ravens, and Chargers, Rams as well today. Ooh. So lots of preseason football to take an eye at.
Yep. Oh yeah, I'm gonna order some food and we're gonna be good. We're gonna be good.
Oh, yeah.
Just gonna relax the whole evening. All right, my guy Alex Loosemore. I'm Sean Spencer. This is Let's Talk College Football. Have a good Saturday, people. Peace.